I'm Drew.
And I'm John. This episode and every future episode's dedicated to the horror hounds and smokers out there who want to expand their knowledge of the genre and have a good time.
Happy Valentine's Day to all of you lovebirds out there. We're dedicating today's episode to the lonely and brokenhearted by counting down our 14 favorite Love Gone Wrong movies.
Love Gone Wrong, I mean, that's pretty much a story of my relationships.
Because here at High on Horror, we don't celebrate love, we celebrate death. Fuck all that sappy shit, am I right?
Us and Al Capone like death on Valentine's Day.
Today we have the lovely Hannah Fierman here with us to discuss the role of the succubus in the VHS segment Amateur Night and the feature-length follow-up SiREN. Plus, she tells us about her upcoming directorial effort, and a groovy classic celebrates an anniversary. Plus, we're smoking some good shit. All that and more today on High on Horror. Interviews, reviews, and the latest news all rolled into one. And now it's time for Strain Wreck, the segment of our show where we discuss which strain we're getting wrecked on in each episode. And today, I still have the same lemon pepper stuff that I had last week, and it looks like John's found a little something special.
That Goji OG from it was the Ozone Kush, I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. I thought it was all out. I went to go chuck the container, and I heard it rattling around, and I was like, oh shit, there's some more in here.
Hell yeah.
That's always good when you think you're out and you got some more.
It's just as good as finding money, finding weed, shit, you know? But, yeah, man, so look, it's Valentine's Day, so I figure, not really too much is going on in the horror world besides Scream 6 being greenlit, and I, really not going to really go into that. So I figured, we would just take a second to tell our listeners, and each other even, maybe have a bro moment here, just tell each other and our listeners a story about a heartache or some sort of something bad that happened to you romantically or some sort of heartbreak you had. So our listeners out there, the lonely hearted who we're dedicating this episode to, so they have something to sympathize with and to know that, we understand where they're coming from when they're down and out. So I'll go first. So I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to name names, but I had
limitations.
This one relationship was it literally changed me in several ways. I was with this woman. I'm going to call her D, and basically I changed everything for her, and I mean that. I legit changed everything for her. I cut my long hair. I stopped wearing band shirts and horror shirts and movie shirts and started wearing button-ups and with the rolled up sleeves and khaki pants and nicer shoes. I had the fucking duckbill hair. I actually fucking did the duckbill with the fucking gel. I turned myself into a total prep because this D wanted this out of me. Always, you would look better if you did this. You would look better if you did that. You would look better if you did this and this and that. And I was so in love and I was so inexperienced and I just really wanted this chick to like me that, I didn't realize that she was slowly in her own way manipulating me into just making me into what she wanted me to be. She never liked me for who I was. She never wanted me. She wanted the idea of this ball of clay that she could mold into whatever she wanted. And somewhere along the way, I lost myself. And I just looked in the mirror and didn't even recognize myself anymore. And the straw that, broke the camel's back for me was I was supposed to go to this party with her. And she, calls me up, hey, babe, I'm sick. I'm not going to make it out tonight. I don't want to go to the party. And then she, tells me, I don't want you to go either, though, because, I'm going to be jealous. I wanted to go, so you stay home, too, and just keep me company on the phone. So I'm like, cool, okay. And, she stops answering the fucking phone. And I'm thinking, oh, she probably, whatever. She might be, she's sick. I got to give her a break. And her her sister answers and says, she's sleeping because she doesn't feel well. So I'm thinking, oh, great, So I'm, just sitting here waiting, not going to this party that I wanted to go to, so I can talk to this girl that I'm madly in love with, and she's sleeping. So I'm just sitting there bored. Decided to go hang out with my friend Danny, and we go to his house, and one of our mutual friends was posting pictures on MySpace. And
it's old when it's MySpace.
Yeah, and they were posting pictures on MySpace, and it was pictures of the party, and lo and behold, there was D at the fucking party in one of the pictures, sitting on this dude who I hated's fucking lap.
You got to move them out of your top 8 friends after that.
So that was it. I showed up to the party and just kind of like just snapped, just totally cut a wrestling promo on her right in front of everybody. I swear to God, I even ripped my button-up shirt off. It was like symbolic because I even ripped my button-up shirt off, and underneath I had like a Halloween shirt. It was just like the pumpkin design of the movie poster.
So it was figuratively and literally for you.
Figuratively, like my outer me is back, you bitch. But and that was when I went. I actually just bawled my eyes out because the worst part about it was once I had left her, I felt good about myself, but when I looked at myself in the mirror, I didn't recognize who I was anymore. And that just made me feel horrible because I realized, like, what depth are you willing to go to like have somebody like you and to want to feel love? And that relationship is why that's why I've become the way I have. It absolutely ruined me towards people, but I truly believe that if I hadn't had that relationship, I would have never have met my wife, because it's like Dexter said about Rita in season 1. The reason that they work together so well, him and Rita work together so well, is because they're both equally as damaged. My wife has had past traumas too, and we work very well together because of that. And I think that had I not gone through this, I wouldn't be where I am now. So I'm thankful for the journey, but still, fuck you, D.
A lot of people in my personal life know there's some stuff I can't really share.
Yeah.
But I will say, people have told me I've been brought up in a college class. If you Google my last name, my court case set the precedent in Delaware for rules on engagement rings and if you have to return them.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, if you just Google my last name, the court case comes up on Google. And somebody I know said they were doing paralegal work, and they messaged me. I didn't talk to them in years. They're like, yo, your name just got brought up in my college course. But yeah, like apparently it set the precedent in Delaware. So, I mean, you can always look at that. The other one I would say, I guess more of a lighthearted one, is there was this girl I was talking to for months, and then we decided to finally start dating. But she lived about like 45 minutes away, something like that. So like we didn't like hang out all the time. And I actually knew her sister, and I was like, oh, did you tell your sister that we're dating? And she was like, oh, no, I haven't told her, and don't tell her. And I'm like, why? That's weird. Like, why can't, like, I tell your sister that, like, we're dating? She's like, no, just, like, don't do it. I'm like, that's really weird. Well, I ended up talking to her sister, and I was like, oh, did your sister tell you that we're dating? She's like, you're not dating my sister. And I'm like, yeah, I am. She was like, no, you're not. And I was like, okay, yeah, I am. And she was like, no, she has a boyfriend. His name's blah, blah, blah. And then I went to her and I was like, are you dating some dude? Like, she's like, this is why I told you not to talk to my sister. I'm like, you told me not to talk to her because you didn't want to get caught? Like,
she's mad at you for talking to her sister, not mad that... What?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So that one's more a little lighthearted one. I got some more personal stories that can't be really shared.
Yeah, that's fine if you don't want to, but, it's as long as, everybody out there knows that, we know what it's like to... It's not all sunshine and green grass and, rainbows over the bridge. Love is a brutal thing. If we're being honest about it, even true love, John's in a committed relationship, so am I. Love can be such a brutal bitch. Nothing is going to put you through the ups and downs, the highs and the lows like love. And it's important to focus on the love stories that, tend to be realistic.
And sometimes they can go wrong.
Sometimes they can absolutely go wrong. And it's important that our listeners out there know that you are not alone today. Although John and I are in committed relationships, we have been through the ringer. So, yeah, keep listening. We have some good shit coming.
This week in horror history.
All right, this week in horror history, we got Skin Deep from 2004. If you want more information on that, just listen to episode 19. We talked to Gabriel Bartolos about that. Nightbreed from 1990.
Classic Clive Barker. The book.
We'll be talking about Clive.
Yeah, man. The novel Cabal is like verbatim the movie. Good movie, good book. Highly recommend this movie.
The House on Haunted Hill from 1959.
Classic Vincent Price. My favorite Vincent Price movie is The Abominable Dr. Phibes, but this is close.
Nicole tries to watch was the one from like 2001 or
The
something.
Famke Johnson one, yeah.
Yeah, where the dude looks like Vincent Price.
Jeffrey Rush from Pirates of the Caribbean.
She gets mad because, like, I've never watched. She's played it like 15, 20 times. I've never watched it. I said, I believe my last time was, she said, you never watch it. I said, why the fuck would I watch this when I can watch the actual Vincent Price House on Haunted Hill?
It's hard to argue that logic.
The Midnight Meat Train from 2009.
I still think that sounds like a porn title, bro.
Clive Barker again.
Again.
He's gonna be featured prominently in this episode.
Nothing wrong with that. Too much Clive Barker is never a bad thing.
A lot of people don't like the ending.
I like the ending. It's just like the ending. I mean, the book is. I just actually read the short story recently, and it's pretty fucking close. It's pretty close. I like the ending. I like the movie. I dig the visual style of it. Ted Raimi gets fucked up.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty rough one. And Rampage Jackson.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Rampage gets his ass whooped worse than John Jones did to him.
Yeah, basically. We got The Silence of the Lambs from 1991.
Classic movie.
Okay. This is going to show you how, like, I latch onto the fucked up quotes. When you think of Silence of the Lambs, what is the first, like, quote that comes into your head?
Well, there's the Fiva Beans one. But I always think of just Hello Clarice. That's the one that I always think of.
Say, listen, this is the one that pops in my head. Oh, was she a great big fat woman? Like, that's the first thing when I hear that.
What the fuck?
Dude, that line cracks me up every time when I watch it. He's just like, do you know who that is? No. Oh, was she a great big fat lady?
Do you think this is one of those movies that just changed the face of things? Yes or no, deserving of the hype? I say yes.
It's like Pulp Fiction. I watch it once. It's not a regular rotation movie. I watch it once every couple years. And each time before I start it, I go, is it really as good as I think it is? And then I finish the movie and I'm like, damn, that's still an amazing movie.
It might be better than I thought it was.
Yeah. That happened. I've watched Pulp Fiction more recently, but it had been like 4 or 5 years. And I'm like, is it really that good?
Yes.
And I'm like, damn, this movie's amazing.
Absolutely. Pulp Fiction's amazing.
1993, Army of Darkness.
Oh, yeah. Groovy.
Gave us more of the Ash that we got from the Ash vs. Evil Dead series. This is where he kind of...
Yeah, it's the prequel to all of that. My favorite line from this movie is actually, yo, she bitch, let's go.
Oh, man, this movie's got so many good lines. It's really where that Ash character really made that character development.
No, dude, the quote, first you want to kill me, now you want to kiss me. Blow. Best quote.
Dude, Bruce Campbell just... You think eventually he's going to run out of one-liners, but they just keep coming.
I think this was the Evil Dead 2 gave us the spark of what was there, but I think, like, nobody really knew until Army of Darkness what a comedic genius Bruce Campbell was. His line delivery is just on point.
And getting a semi-decent budget.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's definitely the best looking of the original 3.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely the most polished one. It's the least scariest one, unfortunately. But it's definitely got its charm. I still love this movie.
Gave us Boomstick.
Yeah, this is my Boomstick, of course. Just so many things about that movie. You know, like so many things, man. Give me some Sugar Baby. He gets his little robot hand. You know, like there's so many things about the little mini Ashes. You know what I mean? The drinking the boiling water. I mean, come on, man. That shit is just classic. That's that Three Stooges humor.
And the other one we have an underrated remake, Friday the 13th from 2009.
I love that movie, man. I don't know why people shit on it. I do not get it. I really don't. It's like, I hate to be like sexist or to sound like rude or disgusting, but it's like There's nudity and sex in all of the Friday the 13th movies, and it's like I feel that because the people that were in this movie, like who were nude, were actually good looking, that's somehow being held against the movie. Like, I'm sorry, but
That's
the people,
interesting theory.
the people who were good looking in this movie, who were naked in this movie, were all like very attractive. So it's like I don't know if it's the uncomfortableness of that, but I don't know. But like people complain about the sex. It's too much sex. It's like that's. I mean, I can name you any Friday the 13th movie where there's like boobs. They're like I don't know. I love this movie. I've always liked it. Derek Mears did an amazing job as Jason. I still like Kane Hodder as Jason, but I'm sorry, you can't tell me you put Derek Mears as Jason in a fight with Kane Hodder's Jason and Ken Kersinger's Jason from Freddy vs. Jason, and I want you to tell me that fucking Derek Mears' Jason wouldn't hold his own.
He went back to non-dead Jason, where he had
Fast.
to be. I still like in that movie. I think my favorite kill's the axe when he throws the axe.
Oh, yeah, dude, that had the biggest pop in the movie theater. Everybody in the theater was like, "No!"
Dude, I mean, I don't know why people didn't like it. I saw it in theaters when it came out, and I was happy with it. It felt like, I'm pretty sure I've said it on here before, but it was pretty much Friday 13th, 1, 2, and 3, all in a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, with the first film being like literally the
Like
opening
15
credit sequence.
minutes.
Yeah, and Jason is
And
fierce.
then,
He looks
Baghead
good.
Jason. Then he gets the mask.
You get Rambo Jason. You get Bear Trap Jason, setting traps for you Jason, bow and arrow Jason.
Oh, that sleeping bag one was rough. When you
Yeah.
see her inside the sleeping bag.
Just cooking her alive, yeah, and just to use her as bait to lure Bull over to her to step in the fucking bear trap. Yeah, some brutal stuff, man. Awesome movie.
All because they're trying to get the weed.
Directed by Marcus Nispel, too, who did the 2003 Texas Chainsaw remake and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm sorry, there actually is a movie called Texas Chainsaw, and that movie is dog shit. That's the 3D one I'm talking about. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Jessica Biel remake. Marcus Nispel directed that as well. He's a very talented director. His horror movies tend to be very dark and very like brutal.
Yeah, I agree with you that I wish that we could have got a follow-up. I know they had rumors to follow-ups, and then there was nothing for years, and then there's the lawsuit. Now that's settled, so hopefully we'll get some kind of Jason movie. I mean, we both enjoyed the Never Hike series.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fans kind of picked up after this failed reboot. I still to this day don't understand how people hate this and like the Halloween reboot.
I don't get that either. I really do not get that either. I'm not even going to go into more. I'm not going to get into it, but I 100% agree with you. I really wish that this movie had gotten a sequel. I really felt that it was one of those remakes that should have made it. I don't know what happened.
I thought it was the only good remake out of that
Out of
Halloween
Freddy, Jason, and Michael.
Freddy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree. And
if you want to include recently the Child's Play reboot, I'd take this one over that.
I agreed. You got me on that one. All right, so let's get into Puff Puff Ask, the segment of our show where you, the listeners, write in your questions to John and I via social media at highonhorror420 or email at highonhorror420@gmail.com or through our website.
Yo, man. Puff, puff, pass.
Now it's time for Puff Puff Ask. I'll start here with a question from Jen Price from Pleasant View, Utah. Sounds like an old folks home.
Wow. Apparently, you say I go on people's places.
I'm sorry, Pleasant View. That sounds like an old person's home. It just
Sunshine Hills.
It reminds me of. Anyway, sorry, Jen. Don't mean to insult your hometown or whatever where you're residing. Sorry. Anyway, Jen Price asks, name your favorite horror movie based on a true crime. That's a good question, and I thought about that because there's a lot of horror movies based on true stories. Like I was going back and forth between like The Exorcist and Amityville Horror and things like that, but those aren't really crimes. So I had to like narrow it down. Ultimately, I think that ultimately it's probably the quintessential true crime horror film would be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. That would be my answer. just because it is based on the true crimes of Ed Gein. It's also, Psycho is as well. Psycho and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre are both based on the killings and the decorating with skin and shit that Ed Gein did. Ed Gein dressed up like his mother, hence Norman Bates dressing up like his mother, hence Leatherface dressing up like a woman and putting makeup on, all based after the crimes of Ed Gein. So my answer would be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, followed by Psycho.
Well, yeah, I can't disagree with those two as the top of the list. I don't know if it's classified really as a horror movie, but I was going to say a true crime movie that's probably my favorite is Zodiac, based on that serial killer.
That's like a thriller, but it works. Yeah, I like that movie a lot too.
It's probably my favorite based on a true crime, but yeah, it's hard to argue against Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, I mean, there's really those are the top two. I can't.
Like I said, maybe not true stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like The Exorcist would easily wipe Texas Chainsaw off. But if we're talking true crime, I can't think of a better one.
Yeah, I have to agree. Yeah, those are the top two. Moving on to our second question here from Tim from Crestwood, Missouri. Crestwood up to no good. Wanted to know, what's an underdog film that we love that very few people talk about, and why do we like it so much? One that came to mind for me was Vacancy. The
Kate Beckinsale? Yeah, that's a good one.
I was trying to think of which Wilson brother, Luke.
Yeah.
They end up at a remote hotel. It came out in 2007. It really flew under the radar. I'd never heard about it, and then it was on Showtime. But what happens is the people at the hotel like to film themselves killing the residents in there. And there's a lot of, just with the tunnels and stuff, a lot of tight, it's very claustrophobic watching it.
Yeah, I agree.
And I thought they had some balls to kill off Luke Wilson's character. I did not expect that to happen. Apparently, I think there was a sequel they made to it. I had no interest in even trying.
It doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me.
And another one I like that I know you're not a big fan of is Triangle.
No, I'm not a fan of that one. That's a popular movie, though.
It I think it runs a little long. It kind of gets a little repetitive, but it's definitely a depressing ass story. And then once you kind of understand it, it makes it even more depressing, I think.
Yeah.
But I will say they went where you have to pay attention. You have to pay super duper attention to one scene.
Right.
To understand it. But yeah, I feel like that one's never really talked about. I know you're not a big fan of that one though.
Yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of that one. I'm trying to think, what was the wording again for this question? The wording was underdog.
Let me bring it back up here. What's an underdog film that you love that very few people talk about, and why do you like it so much?
Yeah, your answer.
I guess
solid.
I really didn't say why I like it. Well, I kind of did with Vacancy more. Triangle, I just like the mythology story behind it. I'm always interested in that, and the repetitiveness, and then it's more of a mystery. But
very ambiguous, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll wrap it up with that from me.
Okay. Well, I would say, I would have to give it to Willard from 2003 with Crispin Glover. That's the underdog film I'm championing.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm championing that movie. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. I'm championing. There we go. I am championing Willard from 2003, starring Crispin Glover, because. Why do I like that movie? Because everything about that movie works. It's whimsical, it's fun, but at the same time, it's serious as shit. And the acting of R. Lee Ermey and Crispin Glover, bouncing back and forth off of each other, is just incredible. Crispin Glover sweating, being nervous, just plays the fucking perfect creep, man. He really does. And R. Lee Ermey, just with that drill sergeant mentality and attitude, and just his just demeaning way of talking to people, they went together on screen so perfectly. And man, that was a hell of a remake, and that's just a remake that nobody brings up, and it's funny, it doesn't get brought up during the remake, and it's not really a bad thing, because when people talk about bad remakes, you never really hear about it. It's just a shame it's not brought up a lot when people talk about good remakes.
Yeah, the only reason I knew there was an original is when it came out, my mom was telling me about the movie Willard because she remembered it from the 70s. And she was, because that was on, she's like, this isn't the same movie. But I think it's better than the original.
Oh, 100%.
Crispin Glover is a creepy motherfucker in this movie.
He's sympathetic, but he is just like, at the same time, he's not. You love him, but you hate him. And it's funny because Bruce Davison actually played Willard in the original film. And he's not in the 2003 film, but he is the portrait of Crispin Glover's father that's hanging up in the house. So he has like a little cameo in the movie. I thought that was cool. I actually didn't know that till I saw the original Willard years after I had seen the Crispin Glover one, and I saw the painting I saw him, and I was like, oh my God, that's a young Bruce Davison. And then I thought, oh shit, that was like a cool little, that was a nod to the original, making him Crispin's dad.
And yeah, you're talking about Arlie Ermy. Is there a movie he's in where he doesn't play an asshole?
Saving Silverman, and I love that movie.
He's kind of an asshole in that.
He's funny though.
He's funny though. From Saving Silverman, they go there and they ask him for advice, and he goes, "Kill the bitch."
Yeah, I know you'd be pissed off though if he was like, wiping his ass in your yard with your mail. Like you're using, your what was it, your Gianna Michaels newsletter?
Gianna Michaels newsletter. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, I think that'll about wrap this up. So, as always, you can always send us questions on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at HighOnHorror420, and send us emails at HighOnHorror420@gmail.com, and you can always go to our website, HighOnHorror.com. Now, let's get into our 14 film countdown of Love Gone Wrong.
The best blood stories end in love, and the best love stories end in blood. That's how it goes. If you're lonely today and feeling down, we are here for you. We've been there, and we know what it's like. Sit back and drink some wine, or smoke some bud, or both. Trust us, we're hitting the blunt for you.
Now, I'm hitting the bong, so.
Well, now let us walk you through the 14 best movies to watch on this day that aren't sappy or happy. Hopefully we list a few that you haven't seen and give you an idea of something to watch today to keep you company on this bullshit commercial holiday. Number 14, The Loved Ones from 2009. This film hails from Australia, and it is an unsung gem. It's about this beautiful girl named Lola, played by Robin McLeavy, who's awkward and wants to take her crush Brent, played by Xavier Samuel, to prom. He rejects her, and that leads to Lola and her father kidnapping Brent and tying him to a chair in the middle of their kitchen and throwing their own makeshift prom where Brent is forced to be her prom date. The more he resists, the more Lola and her father torture the shit out of him. It's hilarious. It's a horror comedy. It's a movie that anybody can enjoy. It's absolutely twisted, but it is charming as hell.
And under the instructions of director Sean Byrne, Robin McLeavy prepared for the role of Lola by researching the serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, as well as watching Misery, Natural Born Killers, and Quentin Tarantino works. At number 13 from 2016, Terrifier. I mean, we've covered Terrifier.
Terrifier as a love story.
I'll get to it. We've covered Terrifier in depth in our first episode, and we talked to Art the Clown himself, David Howard Thornton. So if you haven't seen our first episode, after you're done here, go back and check that out. For the uninitiated, the movie's about a killer clown, Art the Clown, who's out on the prowl. For the Love Gone Wrong portion, Art the Clown, again played by David Howard Thornton, he attempts to give the heroine Tara a ring at the pizzeria, and she rejects it. I mean, I think I'm stretching it a bit here, but I'll classify that as love gone wrong.
Well, I mean, I could disagree with you, but I mean, the dark side of me kind of can see the romance in it, so I'll let it go. And spoiler alert, David did not agree with my theory that,
if Tara took the ring, everything would have been okay. So he's not really on board with my theory here.
Yeah, well, I was going to throw a knowledge nug out there, but actually instead, like John said, our first episode that we dedicated to Terrifier is full of fucking knowledge about Terrifier. So if you want to learn something about that movie, go check that episode out, episode 1 of our podcast. Number 12 on our Love Gone Wrong list is the segment Amateur Night from the 2012 anthology film VHS. This made our list because it is a great story, and it's about a succubus named Lily, and it's the best segment in the film. It's about 3 guys, Shane, Patrick, and Clint, who are trying to bring girls back to their hotel room for sex, and they fuck up big time by bringing a succubus into their room. The succubus, played by the beautiful Hannah Fierman, takes a liking to Clint, but it's not meant to be. I remember the first time I saw VHS, this segment was in my head for days. It was the alien segment from the second one, but with this one, it was Amateur Night.
Yeah, this and, honestly, really, all of them maybe except the last one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the first installment was definitely solid. And, playing a sympathetic succubus is pretty interesting. I don't think I've seen that attempted anywhere else.
No, I agree. And in 2016, Lily got her own feature film, SiREN, and that gives her a little backstory and somewhat completes Lily's journey, but I would like to see her again at some point.
Yeah, and I was going to say in VHS, Patrick's the one who fucks everything up. Like,
yeah,
she could have handled her business, been done, but no. Patrick had to keep trying to butt in.
I know, and like you said, he fucked everything up, and man, his death is brutal. Shit.
And in SiREN, that dude, I lost his name off the top of my head. The main dude that captures her.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that guy's name either.
that dude has fucking goatee.
Yeah.
There's nobody. Does anybody have that goatee and they're not a bad guy?
Or a cowboy hat. It's a combination of both.
Yeah, and the studio was actually pushing to replace Hannah in the role of Lily for SiREN, but director Greg Bishop insisted that Hannah reprise the role of Lily. I'm glad they pushed for that because, she just seems perfect for the role. I can't picture anybody else doing that.
I don't know if anybody would have. Made the connection that it was like a follow up to Amateur Night had it not been her playing the role.
Yeah, I would have to agree. That's the one thing is and the creature design, I really like it with the wings, and it has the feet
and the tail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely gotta be careful of that tail, though.
Especially, watch SiREN and you'll know what we mean.
I felt uncomfortable watching that. I think that's the whole point, though.
I was like, oh god, it is. It's happening.
At number 11 from 1981, we have The Prowler. And actually, this movie was filmed not too far away from us. It was filmed over in Cape May, New Jersey. And the movie showcased Tom Savini's work, like usual. And why is it on the list? Well, on March 12th, 1944, during World War II, Rosemary writes a letter to her boy breaking up with him. 3 months later, after attending a graduation dance with her new boyfriend, Roy, they're impaled with a pitchfork by a mysterious man in an army combat outfit. And pretty much anytime teens are in love, the Prowler's going to be there.
Yeah, The Prowler is one of the best slasher films of all time. It's in my top 4, easy. Here's a knowledge nug. It's also known as Rosemary's Killer. And Tom Savini actually considers this his best work. He worked on it right after Maniac. And also, the director, Joseph Zito, later directed Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter, due to the success of The Prowler. Yeah,
I like the design of the combat outfit. It's iconic.
Absolutely.
You see it, you know it's Prowler.
And there's something unsettlingly creepy about it. Based on the book by Ara Levin, this Roman Polanski classic is about Rosemary Woodhouse and her husband, Guy, who move into an old apartment building. Guy is a struggling actor, and the neighbors, Guy is a struggling actor, and they neither one have anything going for themselves right now. They're down on their luck, but they have each other. That is until Guy goes in cahoots with their peculiar neighbors, Minnie and Roman Castevet, to gain fame and fortune for turning his wife, Rosemary, over to the devil for rape to impregnate. Rosemary thinks she's going insane, but she's not. It's all a giant manipulative scheme to bring the Antichrist into the world. It's chilling, chilling shit.
I mean, love gone wrong. Is there any? I mean, it's kind of hard to top turning your wife over to Satan to have its baby. Like,
Yeah. And to drug her and lie to her and just...
And then gaslighter.
It's not just... I mean, I know it's like the acts that are done are horrible, but it's the constant lying, too, when she thinks she's losing her mind. Like, it's just a real shithead thing to do. Fuck you, Guy.
And fun little knowledge nug for you. Rosemary's Baby is actually born on June 6, 1966. 6666.
Fucking right.
At number 9, we have Bride of Chucky from 1998. What happens when you take a serial killer's ex-girlfriend finding the doll body, and it was last inhabited by the serial killer ex-boyfriend. She performs a voodoo spell on it and brings it back. Well, nothing good's going to happen. Why do you think it's on this list? Chucky and Tiffany are like Bonnie and Clyde if they were murderous dolls.
That's a very good way of putting it. Bride of Chucky is one of my absolute favorites of the series.
Like, these two people should have just never been together. It's nothing good.
Well, that's the thing. It's like kind of like Sid and Nancy in the sense where it's like when they're on the same page, like they are not to be fucked with. They got each other's backs to the fucking limit. But when they're not on the same page,
which is most of the
time, it's the irresistible force meets the immovable object. Well, Chucky's more of a badass, unfortunately, as we see how that plays out. But yeah, this is definitely like my top 3 of my favorite of the whole series, man. Knowledge Nug, this was the first one in the series without the words Child's Play in the title. Also, Ronnie Yu, the director, would later direct Freddy vs. Jason, which is also a badass fucking movie. At number 8 on our Love Gone Wrong list is Misery from 1990. This story of obsession is based on the Stephen King novel of the same title about author Paul Sheldon, played by James Caan, who gets into a nasty car accident in a snowstorm. He awakens to find himself in the home of a nurse named Annie Wilkes, played by Kathy Bates, who is taking care of him. Annie also explains that she's Paul's #1 fan, and soon Paul discovers that Annie is a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
I mean, but in fairness, I would say she would be his #1 fan. She's that obsessed with him.
Yeah, you can't deny that. Well, Annie learns that she learns that Paul is killing off the lead character in his Misery novel series that she's obsessed with and ending the book series. And this leads to Paul trying to escape and Annie triple H-ing his ankles.
Oh, dude, that scene's still so rough when she just snaps everything sideways.
We need to see if somebody's ever done a video edit of like, time to play the game.
Oh, man.
Anyway, yeah, shit gets crazy. Some of the best acting you'll see. And I still hail this as the best Stephen King film adaptation, even over The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile.
And knowledge nug, Jack Nicholson was offered the role of Paul Sheldon, but he passed on the project. He wasn't sure if he wanted to do another movie based on a Stephen King work after what he experienced on The Shining. At number 7 from 1992, Candyman. We all know if you say Candyman 5 times in a mirror, he'll show up. The origin of his story is all about a love, though, that could never be. Based on Clive Barker's short story, The Forbidden, Candyman was born in the late 1800s. He was the son of a slave who rose to become a prominent artist. He fell in love and impregnated a white woman. The woman's father sent a lynch mob after him. They cut off his right hand, smeared it with honeycomb, attracting bees that stung him to death. And his body was burned and the ashes spread around where his now current day Cabrini Green is.
Yeah, man, Candyman is just such an amazing movie. And, it's interesting, knowledge nug here. In The Forbidden, the book, Candyman is actually a white guy. He's described as looking jaundiced, and he also wears like pants and a jacket that are said to be multicolored and like patchwork, as opposed to like the long furry coat that Tony Todd wears in the film. And also, so like, Bernard Rose, the director, he's the one that kind of took it to Cabrini Green and made it an urban tale, and he was right in doing so. That's what made it work.
Yeah, Tony Todd sounds way more badass than what you just described.
Absolutely. You can't. Tony Todd is fucking Candyman. Can't see it any other way. All right, number 6, I have The Crow from 1994. Based on the James O'Barr graphic novel of the same name, The Crow is my number 1 love story of all time. Absolutely. There's never been a question about it. I was born and raised on this movie. Fuck you. It's about this soon-to-be husband and wife, Eric Draven and Shelley Webster, who meet untimely deaths at the hands of some hoodlums. Shelley complained about the upkeep of she and Eric's apartment to the landlord, who was also a crime lord named Top Dollar, and he sends his goons to take care of Eric and Shelley. After raping Shelley and beating her, Eric is stabbed, shot, and thrown out of a window. It's said that if you die a brutal or unjust death, that a crow can bring you back to make the wrong things right. Well, 1 year later, after their deaths, Eric is brought back from the dead by a crow to avenge himself and his bride-to-be. What ensues is violence and rage that is justified, tragic, and beautiful. I truly cannot think of anything more romantic than loving someone so much that you would actually come back from the dead to avenge them. Anyone can buy you flowers, anyone can buy you jewelry or a card, but fuck, who's coming back from the dead? Incredibly romantic and sad.
I think it's overrated. I listen to the hate online though.
It says the dude obsessed with the Big Lebowski. I'll go there. Fuck it.
Wow. You gonna talk that about the Big Lebowski, one of the greatest movies ever made. Anyway, knowledge snug for you. According to Empire magazine, cocaine abuse was rampant on the set. Cameramen were shooting while high. The crew were going to toilets to snort between shots.
Oh, Jesus.
One crew member recalls it being somebody sneezing, and it annoyed Brandon Lee so much that he said someone just lost $50.
Oh, shit.
At number 5 from 1987, Hellraiser. Well, here I am talking about another Clive Barker short story, this case, The Hellbound Heart. I guess we'll call him a sexual explorer. Frank tinkers with a box while abroad, and he meets the ultimate in S&M experience. After he's torn apart, he's brought back to life after his brother and wife move into the house and spill some blood. Now Julia's luring men back to the house for meals as Frank. I guess they're meals. I don't know how he really absorbs it. It's not really clear in the movie, but
it's food. It
makes him whole again. It's the story of the lengths one woman will go for the best life she ever had.
The book is amazing and the movie's great. It's
Some people
legendary,
say
man.
It's boring, and I never got that. Like, you're getting kills all the time.
My sister and mother are the same way. No, actually, it's just my sister. My sister never got it. My mom and I did. I always loved the first Hellraiser movie. It's so just unique and just visually beautiful to look at, and just it's one of those. It's grim, like the rusty, bloody tools hanging off of like Pinhead's waist and the other Cenobite's waist, but like at the same time, it's like it's that beauty in the macabre. I don't know how to describe it. There's something elegant but yet disgusting about that movie that just makes it beautiful to look at. Knowledge nug, Doug Bradley was actually pissed off and left the premiere party because no one knew who he was without the Pinhead makeup on. He got no love or recognition, poor guy.
Damn, that kind of sucks. Nicole, when I made her watch it recently, her one complaint was she's like, where's the Pinhead guy? He's like hardly ever in this. I'm like, yeah, but it's not a bad thing. I'm like, Darth Vader's hardly in Star Wars.
Yeah, that's
But when
true. He's
there, it's impactful. Pretty much like anything Pinhead said in Hellraiser is a memorable line from that movie.
Yeah, everything he said is quotable. You're right. At number 4 on our Love Gone Wrong list, I have Scream from 1996. In this Wes Craven classic, Sidney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell, is stalked by a ghost-faced killer who is picking off students at her high school. After a game of cat and mouse, it turns out that the entire murder spree was done by 2 killers, not one. Billy and Stu, played by Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard. Billy is Sidney's boyfriend, and it's unveiled that Sidney's mother, being a slut,
I mean, we don't slut shame around here.
ruined Billy's family, and that this whole elaborate path of murder was to get back at Sydney and make her look horrible for what her mother did. Now that defines love gone wrong. That was never love in general. That just means that this whole relationship, everything was all just a ploy to just destroy Sydney. So, yeah, that's fucked.
Let's face it, she's no Sharon Stone. See, other people have lines that they remember from it. That's just the one that always sticks with me. I told, because last Monster Mania, when I met Matthew Lillard, I had him sign SLC Punk, but I would have had him, like, sign that on something from Scream if I got it.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
But knowledge snug for you, the role of Sydney was originally offered to Molly Ringwald because she was a favorite of screenwriter Kevin Williamson. She turned it down because she said she'd rather not be playing a high school student at 27.
I mean, I understand, but she definitely fucked up. That was her comeback.
That was her comeback, and now where's your career, Molly?
Yeah, you'd have been here 6 movies later.
Yeah, you in the 80s, you're just sitting there with all your money now. Look at you. At number 3, we have Maniac from 1980. Joe Spinell plays maybe the ultimate mama's boy, which leads to love gone wrong pretty much every time he has a lady around. He also has a love interest with his mannequins, and they're not returning that love back to him. There was a remake, which I think might actually be better. It's pretty close with Elijah Wood.
Yeah, I agree. The remake doesn't have that grindhouse dirty feel to it that the William Lustig film does, like, and that's one thing that I've seen people say, and that is true. The original Maniac is one of those movies that is gritty and dirty and does make you feel like you need a shower after watching it. The remake doesn't have that. The remake is definitely more polished, and that is a downfall, but I still feel that the remake's a superior film.
Yeah, and it's weird because Joe Spinell was in Godfather, and he looked nothing like he looked in The Godfather in this movie.
He definitely looks like a fucking creep.
Yeah, he looks like he sweats potato chips.
What the fuck?
Like just the grease from the potato chips is what he's sweating.
Anyway, here's a knowledge nug. The headless corpse in the end of the film is actually the corpse of Jason's mother, Betsy Palmer, from the original Friday the 13th.
See, they just shared her head?
Yeah, just her body.
Fucking weird.
At number 2 on our Love Gone Wrong list, I have My Bloody Valentine from 1981. This is not the best horror love story, but it is the quintessential Valentine's Day horror movie. This 80s classic is about a love triangle between Sarah, TJ, and Axel. TJ left town and his girlfriend Sarah to start a new life. Since then, Sarah has hooked up with Axel, and they're happy. Until TJ comes back to town, begging Sarah to take him back and destroying his friendship with his once friend Axel. For Valentine's Day, they all bring their girlfriends down to the mine shaft that they all work at. Fucking terrible idea. And a killer from the town's past, Harry Warden, who slaughtered people on Valentine's Day some many years before, decides to make a visit to the mine shaft and punish the teens for celebrating the holiday that the town swore to never celebrate. Or is the killer one of our protagonists? If you don't know, go watch it. Amazing movie. Real believable characters. That is very hard to find in early slasher films. Real believable characters.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's necessarily on its quality this high up the list, but I mean, when you're thinking Love Gone Wrong and Valentine's Day, I mean, it's got to be up there.
It's got to be top 1 or 2.
And knowledge snug, the film was actually shot in actual mines, and sometimes they were as deep as 900 feet. And they could only use certain lighting devices because of potential methane explosions.
Oh, shit.
And number 1 from 1935, Bride of Frankenstein. Maybe the best movie of all the Universal monster movies. It's up there.
It is by no comparison, in my opinion.
And this might be one of the first love gone wrong stories in all of cinema. Frankenstein's monsters demanded a mate. After forcing Henry Frankenstein to help create a mate for him, it isn't happily ever after for these two. His new potential wife screams and rejects him. After being warned of his actions, that he'll destroy everybody there, the monster tells Pretorius and the bride, "You stay, we belong dead. pulls a lever and destroys the lab and tower, killing everybody inside.
I mean, the monster didn't want to be made, and he hates living. Remember the line, hate living, love dead. He hates being alive. He didn't ask for this, and he wants a bride made for him so that he can have someone, just anyone, just one person
With their boldy necks.
who doesn't think that he's a hideous freak or is scared of him or think of him like a piece of shit. So after being,
Didn't go well.
after being created like him, like John said, the bride hisses at him and rejects him. He's not even accepted by his only fucking peer.
Yeah,
And
that's rough.
Yeah, and then he uses the line, "We belong dead." Now, if that isn't love gone wrong, I just do not know what is. I do not know what is. And here's a knowledge nugget for those of you out there. I just recently found this out and it blew my mind. The bride's hair is actually red. It's not black or brown. It's red with the white stripe. If you look up a picture of Elsa Lanchester's wig online, you'll see it.
Well, we have a special guest for you. So we actually talked to Hannah Fierman about the role of Lily in both VHS and SiREN. So that's what we got up next for you. Here is a little interview.
Today's guest has had roles in The Unwanted, American Hell, and Creepshow. You all know her as Lily, the succubus, from the VHS segment Amateur Night, and the feature-length follow-up SiREN. Welcome, Hannah Fierman. Thank you for being on High on Horror.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
And you've had a handful of horror roles on your resume. What attracted you to the genre?
Well, it just kind of adopted me. Actually, I was surrounded by a whole bunch of independent horror filmmakers that I was good friends with, and I wanted to work with them because they were brilliant, and it just sort of embraced me.
Were you a horror fan before you got into making horror films?
Not really, but sort of, because I was a fan of a lot of horror movies, but I didn't consider myself a hardcore horror fan. Like, I don't have collections or, posters on the walls or anything. And I certainly couldn't name anybody from any famous movies like a lot of my friends can. But yeah, anybody who says that they're not a horror fan is full of crap.
And do you have any favorite horror films?
Yeah, some of my favorite horror films. I really like. I really like Jaws, and I enjoyed Scream when I was younger, the first one. And there's just too many to count. Like some really freaky ones, like Jacob's Ladder, just terrified me as a child. Yeah, a bunch of them.
Well, those are all solid choices. So let me ask you, I know you just said, that you haven't really grown up, you didn't really grow up on horror, but now that you're into the mix of things, how do you feel about the current state of horror? And can you tell us like a current favorite horror film that you've seen that you're a fan of?
Well, I think the current state of horror is a really good one. Actually, I think that mainstream media has really embraced a lot of aspects of the genre and put it in pretty much everything to where it's even in cartoons. Like there's these little kids that are dressing up like little cartoon vampires and stuff like that. It's like it's everywhere now. And yeah, well, there's a lot of amazing horror movies that are coming out soon. I'm looking forward to seeing the guys at Radio Silence's new version of Scream. Those guys did the first VHS with us, and I'm a big fan of their work. Anything Adam Wingard does, I love. He's fantastic. Let me think. Let me think. Um, hmm. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing my movies that are going to come out. I haven't seen any of them yet. I have a premiere in Cincinnati tomorrow. That's called Terror Trips. That just had a theatrical release, and I'm excited to see that on the big screen. And a movie that I did recently in Maine last winter called Time's Up is supposed to be almost done with its edit now. And yeah, so those I'm looking forward to as well.
Well, yeah, those look and sound awesome. But while we're talking about your upcoming projects, well, what can you tell us about the upcoming film that you directed, Dark Circles?
Well, I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be. I mean, I'm really excited about a lot of aspects of it. I haven't begun editing yet, but I'm really looking forward to that in the next month or two. And it's just got a lot of talented people. It's an excellent script, and we got some beautiful footage. So that's all I can tell you right now.
Okay, well, we can't wait to see it. This is actually your first feature length effort as a director. So I want to ask, why did you start directing? What attracted you to directing?
Well, people ask me to. My first directing job was for Dead by Midnight 2, which hasn't come out yet. And I did a segment called Hell Evangelist, which was about a crooked televangelist um, and a little old lady that sort of gets revenge, but mostly just takes advantage of him. And after I did that, people saw it and trusted me and wanted me to do this feature. And originally, I was supposed uh, to star in Dark Circles, but obviously, I didn't want to act in it and direct it with being so new as a director. So I gave myself a tiny cameo, but definitely not one of the leads. And yeah, I shot it with a bunch of people that I'd already worked with many, many times. And we just trust each other artistically. And so that's how it came about.
Well, that's excellent. Like I said, we can't wait to see it and find out more about it. Well, you actually started out as an actor. So, like, do you feel that having started out as an actor before directing, helps you communicate with your actors when you direct?
I think it really, really, I mean, I can't express enough how important it is to also understand and to be in the shoes of an actor before you start directing. It's just, it makes a world of difference. I've worked with directors that are not actors and just stick to directing. And I think that frequently they're lacking in a kind of understanding and communication that both actor directors have.
Well, is it more challenging? Do you find it more challenging to be an actor or a director?
I think it's more challenging at this point to be a director just simply because I haven't done it as much. And also, you have to be on full time and you're responsible for the entire feature versus when you're an actor, you're just responsible for your role. And that's enough. You know, that's a big enough job to have. But yeah, I think directing is a bit harder.
And now, getting into VHS, how did you become involved with the project?
Oh, David Bruckner is a friend of mine, and actually, I was just talking to him today, and he asked me to be a part of it. We still had auditions, but basically it was written for me. And I just trusted his work so much. I'd seen his music video, The Fear, I'd seen his feature film, The Signal, and several of his other things that he had done. And I knew I wanted to work with him. And so when he came to me with this project, I was just like, yeah, shoot, why not? You know, and we didn't think anybody was going to see it or that it was going to go anywhere. So it was kind of an easy choice because you know, it was just me working with my buddies like I always did, and yeah, that's how it all started.
Yeah, and the role of Lily the succubus is definitely one of the most memorable things from VHS. How much did you get to contribute to the role, and how much was that just David's writing?
Oh, a great deal because it was all very grassroots. The script was ever changing, and they basically let me do whatever I wanted. As far as like her cadence, her voice, her movements, and her aesthetic. They let me change and adjust and work, and we just worked together and developed the character uh, from the very very beginning.
Now, in the short, Patrick's definitely the like biggest asshole of that group. You think if he left Lily alone to do her thing, like she would have just let him live?
Patrick, which one's Patrick? Is that Joe Sykes's character, or is that Shane, the big alpha?
Patrick, Lily made it known throughout the entire thing that she did not like him.
Okay, I couldn't remember the character's name. It's been so long. Okay, yeah, probably. Probably it would have all worked out just fine if he just, you know, no means no, man.
and he definitely gets a horrific death. Uh, do you remember how the effect was done, where you guys just ripped his genitals off?
Yeah. So my character first rips his throat out and sort of absorbs his blood out of his body, and then pukes it up all over him because she's evidently sort of allergic to this guy. Like, she hates him that much that her body just expels him all over the hotel room. And then the actual prosthetic for Joe was a couple of Easter eggs that were filled with some sort of gelatinous goo stuffed into a condom covered in fake blood. The One of the makeup artists just busted out with it and was just like, "Hey, will this work?" And we were like, "That looks so horrifically real." Yeah, that's the kind of movie we were making. It was very hands on. I guess you would say.
That's it's crazy how they do things like that. That's not what I would have expected that to be made of at all. What was the makeup process for you like? Was it like a long makeup process to do the kind of zipper face thing, or was that a quick, easy in and out thing?
Oh no, it took forever. I'm attention deficit, so I don't sit well for very long. But it was just constant retouching, and every time I got up and walked on the feet, they were silicone, so I would just rip off the bottoms, and I'd have to be back in the chair again, and I'd snap off a nail. And one time I got really frustrated with the teeth and pulled them out and broke them by accident. And yeah, so it was a lot. I mean, I don't remember how many hours it was, but it was full body paint. And a lot of that you can't really tell. It's quite subtle in the movie, but my entire body was painted.
Oh yeah, it's one of those things where I guess it's because of the way it's shot, all those details don't really show up, but the face is definitely the thing that stands out. And you had mentioned how you didn't think that anybody was going to see the movie, and you were joking about that, but after the love that Lily got from VHS, was there immediate talk of a spin-off or a solo film happening, or did that take a little bit of time to happen?
There was immediate talk about it, actually. We were already talking about it when I first read the short film, or the segment rather. We were already discussing how we thought that there was potential there to have a feature spin-off, or a feature film made of it. Because like I said, we didn't think that anything was going to happen with this VHS thing that turned into a franchise. We were just like, oh, well, it'll be fun and be a good exercise, whatever. And yeah, so we knew that the meat and potatoes were there.
Well, that's awesome. We're glad. We're all glad that Lily definitely came back, and you playing her for a second time in SiREN. What did you want to bring to the role this time, with her being the central character?
Well, I just wanted to bring back the classic misunderstood monster and to expand the story a little bit and develop a little more understanding for her. I also wanted to see, her origin, which I think they could do more with and go further with. Um, because there's a lot of exciting mythology behind the siren or the succubus or the harpy, the mermaid, whatever. Um, there's a lot of different myths around it. You have Greek, you have Roman, you have some bizarre, like, sub Catholic subset of the same demon, and it's a fascinating creature, and I think that they could explore that further.
Well, that's I was going to ask you. Did you get to contribute any backstory?
Yes, I did, but mostly with Siren, it was already written by Ben and Luke, and I thought the script was really great. They did a really good job with it. And so yeah, they were always asking me for my input and being just really communicative, and letting me be hands on with the process. But I didn't really change anything um, that they had done for Siren. Most of my workshopping was done with VHS, with Bruckner, and with.
It was you definitely did such a good job. Lily is such an iconic character, so I have to ask you: was it hard portraying a creature like a succubus and making her sympathetic?
It wasn't. It was not easy, and it was not written that way. But I felt like it would be a bit boring if she wasn't sympathetic. So I definitely poured a lot into that, and it was fun. I'm an actor; it's my job. I like little challenges like that, and I think it worked out, and I'm really pleased with how it worked out, honestly.
Oh yeah, it worked out great. That's the thing. Like, you're a little bit scared of her, but you like her. She's likable. It's the monster you love to hate. It's perfect. And I yeah, you absolutely killed it. And so I have to ask you, was Jonah the one? Did it work out, or are we going to see Lily on the hunt again at some point?
I think he's a very satisfied man. He's got a lot of puppy babies to deal with. Because he's the stay-at-home mom. He's chained to the nest, so he doesn't really have a choice. But I mean, he seems happy.
Was there any differences in the production versus working the short amateur night and working the feature film?
Well, yeah, there was huge differences because with VHS, I was working with all of my best friends on a short film locally, and it was very compact within just a few weeks of us workshopping, and I felt very in tune with everybody, and there was just a lot of communication. With SiREN, there was absolutely no communication. We were given like a moment's notice to prepare for it, and so it was all just fly by the seat of your pants, no pun intended. And I was also, although I was working with some people that I knew previously, they weren't actually my really good friends. So that made a difference. I was surrounded by a lot of people I didn't know and never worked with before. And there was some anxiety there. Not that I get anxiety from working with new people, but in that kind of extreme, vulnerable circumstance, I think it did make a difference, with just like being nude the entire time and being all night shoots and being isolated and alone. And so, yeah, it was an entirely different experience.
And we want to thank you for joining us today. And did you have any upcoming projects you'd like to share?
Yeah, well, like you already mentioned, Dark Circles, which was previously called The Event Surrounding a Peeping Tom, and I'm not sure if it's going to go back to that title or not. But yeah, I'm really excited about that, and I think you guys are going to get a kick out of it. It's got some amazing performances from Damien Maffei and from Felissa Rose. They absolutely slayed it. I had Terry Kaiser, who I just worked with for the first time on this, and he is amazing. he Everything he touches turns to gold. The man is fantastic. I don't know how he does it. I worked him hard, and he never lost any energy whatsoever. And so I'm looking forward to you guys, seeing that and experiencing that, and you letting me know how you feel about it. And I have a movie that I just wrapped last week called Dementophobia, which I've been working on and off again for a very long time with this group called Grand Line Creations. And I play a psychiatrist who is aware that she's losing her mind and the steps she takes to stop it. And that was a really wonderful character to have the opportunity to play, is just because it was just, there was just so many places one could go with it. And so I'm super duper excited about that one. And yeah, and Time's Up too. I'm really looking forward to seeing Time's Up, even though I was just an actor in it. Um, there's a lot of really really gnarly kills in that, and I want to see how they turned out. And yeah, like I said, tomorrow I'm going to go see Terror Trips in the theater at the Cincinnati premiere, and I'm looking forward to that one too. I played the lead, and there was some wonderful performances by Cheney Morrow and Elsie Holt in that as well that I think you're going to really enjoy.
That's great. You got all those projects going on. And where can people follow you on social media to keep up with your latest projects?
Well, basically, I'm real not creative. Just Hannah Fierman on all social media platforms that I'm on, which is, basically just like Facebook and Instagram. And I tweet every now and then, and that one's Hannah Rose Firm. And then I also have a website. It's hannahfierman.com that I'm frequently updating. So if you ever want to know what's going on, just check that out. Oh, and I'm also on Cameo.
And thank you again for joining us today. And come on and chat again with us if you will.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me, both of you, and I really appreciate you reaching out to me. And yeah, yeah. Let me know what you think about my movies after they come out. All right.
Oh, we absolutely will. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks to all the horror hounds and smokers out there for tuning in. Thanks to Hannah Fierman for joining us today. And I gotta say, I feel like having a sympathetic succubus on for our Valentine's Day episode is very on brand for us.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely works.
And if you haven't seen the OG VHS or SiREN, make sure to go check those out. And also follow us online on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at High on Horror 420. You can email us at highonhorror420@gmail.com, and make sure to stop by our website, highonhorror.com, and you can sign up for our newsletter, and you'll get our latest guest announcements and newest episodes delivered directly into your inbox. Now, next week, we're going to cover the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, how many of these sequels did we need?
How many remakes is this, or reboots, or requels?
Yeah, I've lost count at this point. Anyway, we're going to check it out, and we'll let you know how it is.
Hopefully Laurie Strode kicks his ass. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Laurie Strode. Oh, man. Yes, everything's copied Halloween, it feels like. Anyway, make sure to tune in next week and hear that. And I guess that'll about wrap her up. Catch you later.
Bye, everybody.